Hello, I'm Anna Squelch and welcome to my YouTube channel. I thought that it was about time that I prepared an introduction video. I have uploaded a couple of videos previously, but I just wanted to make this a bit more official and tell you what this channel is going to be about. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure right now, but I do want it to be a bit of a, I guess, a memory bank of my journey, the journey that I've been on, the journey that I'm on right now, and the path that I am following in the hope that it inspires other people to follow a similar path or the path of their own creation. I guess the first thing I really want to touch on is where I'm at right now, which it's the start of 2019, and at the end of 2018 I declared that 2019 was going to be the year that I found love, romantic love. So I've been single for about 2 years now, about 3, but I had a kind of short relationship about 2 years ago. And I've really been on a journey of healing these past 2 years, still dating, still kind of trying to, dip my toe in the dating pool, or still being open. Well, I thought I was being open to meeting a partner, but I realized along that journey that I still had so much more work to do, and so that is something that I really want to share because it's really topical for me right now, and I think it can help a lot of people. A lot of people around me are declaring that 2019 is the year that they find their significant other, and that's what I want to talk about. So I guess I'll take it back to, and I only want to talk about the important stuff, so anything I do talk about I think is pertinent to this journey and this story, and hopefully the inspiration that unfolds. But about 3 years ago, I'm losing track, about 3 years ago I was living in Sydney in Australia. I lived there for about 8 years before moving back home here to Auckland, New Zealand. And I had been single for about 6 years before this point, right? So I'm not the kind of person that jumps from relationship to relationship. I'm very much I need that real connection. I won't just kind of date anyone, and I'm really looking for that deep soul connection, I guess. Even before I knew what that was. And so after about 6 years, I dated a guy for about 7 months, and then that fell apart. And then straight away I met this other guy who was a Kiwi, and I fell deeply in love with this guy, or what I thought was deeply in love with this guy. We were already talking about the future and, moving in together and all that kind of stuff fairly quickly. And about 3 months into the relationship, I went overseas on a trip to the US, on a girls' trip for about 3 weeks, and we stayed in touch every day. We're making all these plans for when I came home. And then I actually changed my flight so I could arrive home a day earlier because I missed him so much. And he picked me up from the airport, and I just noticed in his energy that things felt different. There was this kind of thick, dense energy. He looked like he'd lost weight. And I just knew that something was off, but I didn't bring it up because I didn't really have a voice back then, and I didn't have a deep relationship with my inner knowing and my intuition, and kind of knowing to speak up if I was feeling something in my body. And we went back to my apartment, and I had a nap, and then I woke up and went into the lounge, got my phone, and there was a message on my phone, a Facebook message from a girl that I didn't know, telling me that she had been sleeping with my boyfriend, the guy in the next room, for about 6 months. And so we'd been together for 3, so you can do the maths. And in that moment, my whole world crumbled. And you may have experienced it yourself before in some other capacity of like your ears start throbbing and the world is just like spinning around you. And so not to go any more into the details because that's not relevant, but I did stay in this relationship. So he begged me to stay. I did. I was in a place where I was so disempowered, and I was so out of touch of who I was and what I wanted and what I was about and all of that kind of stuff, that I couldn't imagine being without this person. And I had such little belief in myself that I was worthy. Yeah, it was a worthiness thing. I had such little self-worth that anyone else would want me. And so I stayed with him for another 4 months, and in that time I just completely unraveled. I lost all sense of self. For about the first month I would wake up crying every morning, and then it got to a point where I was no longer allowed to do that. He told me that I was no longer allowed to do that because that wasn't fair on him. And so I found myself squashing down all of this emotion and, you know, putting on a happy face when I was dying on the inside, and feeling so incongruent with my morals and values and beliefs of being in a monogamous relationship whilst still being in relationship with this person who had cheated. And what I know now about emotions is that when we pretend that emotions aren't happening, when we squash them down, when we don't acknowledge them, that is a breeding ground for illness and disease and much heavier stuff to happen in our life. And so emotions is something that I'll talk about in another video, because I think it's so important for people's journey to really have a relationship with their emotions and come to see them as their inner wisdom and a compass and all this amazing stuff. And so, yeah, after about 4 months after the cheating, so 7 months total relationship, he actually broke up with me because I developed severe social anxiety. I didn't want to leave the house. I was scared to drink alcohol. I was scared to eat. That's where I really developed my anxiety, which again, I'll talk about that in another video because that's another journey in itself. But this is all about my love story at the moment, so we'll keep it to that. So we ended that relationship in November 2016, I think it was. And then at the time I was in a job that I really didn't enjoy, and so I saw no other option but to move home to New Zealand. And I moved home with my tail between my legs. I thought that I had failed. I thought that I was giving up. I thought that I was running home. And so I just was carrying around not only this sadness that wasn't able to be processed, but I was carrying around this deep sense of shame that I had let myself down, that I had let my family down, that I had just, you know, not measured up to people's expectations. And if you are aware of the emotion scale and so each emotion that we carry has a certain vibration, and shame is at the very bottom. It's the lowest vibrating emotion we can possibly experience, and then enlightenment is at the top. There's joy in the middle, all these kinds of things. Siri. And so, yeah, I came home with this deep sense of shame. And anyway, over the next 2 years, and I can't really remember what it was that made me decide, like what my turning point was, where I was like, fuck this isn't going to be my life. I want to heal all of these wounds I have around men, because it wasn't just the wound from that relationship. It was really, there was a wound that was reopened in every single relationship that failed. And what I learned later is that a lot of that went back to my childhood, which it often always does. These traumas that we carry through into adulthood more often than not stem from childhood. And that was all around my relationship with my father and him not being entirely present in my life as a kid. And then my relationship with my brother, and every subsequent male that came into my life, there was this chipping away at my level of distrust in both myself and with men. But this is all stuff that I've learned since. And so at that time, I didn't have that consciousness. I didn't have that awareness. But fast forward to today, and this is 2 years, so this is a pretty long journey. And I now feel where I'm in a place where I have this inner sense of resilience and self-love and self-worth and like commitment to my own happiness. And it's just, I just want to share this journey with people so much, because it is so, I don't want to say easy, it is so accessible to everyone if we just make this our life's work. Because self-development, personal development, spiritual healing, whatever you want to call it, it does need to become your work, your life. And at first it might feel really heavy and emotional, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to come up in order to come out, and it's not pretty to a lot of people, and a lot of people don't want to go through this journey because of the feelings and emotions that it unearths, and the memories and the traumas that we do have to revisit on this journey of healing. But I can tell you that it's just so worth it. And so I encourage everyone, particularly if you're someone who is healing from heartbreak or trying to call in the love of their life or anything in that romantic field, I really encourage you to commit to doing this work. And I'm going to share what's worked for me. And everyone's journey is different, absolutely, but there are universal lessons in all of it, so you can just apply them as you see fit. And I haven't written anything down, I'm just kind of pulling down whatever wants to come through, but the biggest thing I would say is developing the relationship with yourself. So really learning to be with yourself. And I was always someone who was like, I love being by myself, I love my own time, but I wasn't really being with myself when I was having that alone time. I was reading a book, or I was on my computer, creating my website, or watching a TV show, or I was using a distraction or a numbing device, and not really being with myself. Because when we actually sit with ourselves without any distractions, without any external stimulus, we really get to know ourselves, and we really get to experience who we are and what we're about and what emotions we're feeling and all this kind of stuff. And so relationship with yourself, number one. So that might look like, and that can look different for everyone, but that might look like having a daily morning practice of stillness. So being with yourself in meditation, or just sitting, looking out at nature and breathing, or sitting, listening to a song, not a stimulating song, but just a beautiful morning mantra or something, and creating white space in your life and carving out that time where you are really present with yourself and where it is just you and yourself. That is something that I have been massively, and over these 2 years, this is something I've only really mastered in this last 3 months, I would say, because scenarios crept up in my life, as they always do, universal lessons. They crept up in my life at a time when I needed to learn that lesson of being with myself. And I thought I was with myself, and I thought I knew myself, and I knew what my needs were, and I knew what I was doing and where I was going. But the universe will always throw something at us to test whether we actually believe that. And that happened to me at the end of last year. And I was really forced to be with myself and by myself. And that's probably another story for another day, which I'm not quite ready to share. But secondly, I would say really developing that relationship with the masculine. And so the men in your life, or strangers, your barista, or the guy that pumps your gas, or the postman, or if you're someone who has experienced heartbreak and you have this like man-hating view on things, which I did. I was very much a man-hater because of the hurt that I had experienced, and that was doing nothing for me to be able to heal that masculine energy within myself and the collective masculine consciousness around me. So developing a relationship with the men around you. So looking for examples that there are wonderful men around you, whether it's your brother, whether it's your best friend's husband, whether it's, as I said, the guy in the cafe, or looking for evidence on a daily basis that there are wonderful, loving, non-cheating men around you. That was super important, because there's the saying, we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. And so I was going out into the world blindly over the past 2 years, wanting a boyfriend and wanting that perfect soulmate, but I was vibrating on a level of, I'm still not ready to trust, he's probably going to hurt me, I'm going to have my guard up and my walls up so he can't hurt me, whatever, X, Y, and Z. I invented this story, and then my frequency was vibrating at that level, because we are all energy, we're 99% energy, and we're just all energetic beings, and so we all vibrate at a particular frequency all the time. And I was wanting something on a head level, but not embodying that on a body or heart or soul level. So I was wanting the man and the white picket fence and the babies and the marriage and whatever, but my body was saying, I'm still hurt, I'm still broken, you're going to hurt me again, X, Y, and Z. And so that incongruence between head and heart is what made it impossible for me to meet that love of my life, because the men in the world were picking up on that energy. They could see the energy, they couldn't see what I wanted in my head, and were being repelled by that. So just something to notice if you are finding yourself in that same really wanting something and really, putting on the nice clothes and putting on the makeup and going on the dates and, saying that you want something, but really fully not embodying the belief that you can have it and embodying the belief that you're worthy of having that thing. What else do I want to share? You know what? I think those are the main things. Really developing that relationship with yourself, developing the worthiness, and developing that inner self-love and that inner belief that your guy is out there. Actually, let's say number three will be affirmations. So acting as if that person is already around you. And a lot of people think that affirmations are very entry-level spiritual development or entry-level self-help or whatever. But affirmations are actually the key to creating what it is that we want, because we create our world through our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions, and our words. And so affirmations are so powerful, and the universe doesn't know the difference between a well-imagined thought and reality, or a well-imagined affirmation and reality. So the more that we can speak something, we actually speak it into existence. And if you're a follower of the law of attraction, you'll know that this happens time and time again. It is just it's a fact. It's the law, it's the vibration, it's everything. And so whether you're a journaler and you like to have a morning practice of journaling everything out and writing out the man that you're looking for. Actually, that's number 4. Okay. It's all coming down now. So number 3, affirmations, acting as if it's already happened, saying to yourself, my soulmate is already out there. He's alive. He's out there. He's waiting to meet me. He's been waiting his whole life to meet me. He's still just getting ready. And this is something that I used to say and believe. And it's not enough to just say it, and it's not enough to just write it down in your journal, but you actually have to believe it on a cellular level, because that is going to create the vibration that will attract that thing with the similar vibration into your life, because we always attract the similar vibration. And so the reason that I was attracting guys into my life that were cheaters, emotionally unavailable, drug addicts, you name it, I attracted it, was because I was vibrating on that level of unworthiness and insignificance and not believing that I could have the king. So number 3, affirmations. Number 4, writing out your list. And a lot of people say this, and a lot of people kind of say, it feels a bit weird and it feels a bit cheesy to be writing out a list of the attributes that you want in a person, but it is key. It is asking the universe to co-create with you, and it's inspiring the law of attraction to start working with you as well. And I would suggest to not focus so much on, what he needs to look like, but you can. But I wouldn't focus on that. I would focus more on the qualities that you want this person to have and the way that you want him to make you feel. So this is a practice that I did in August. Was it August or October? I think it was October last year, because so many people had told me you just need to do this, and you do it and then you reread it, or you put it somewhere prominent in your room or your bathroom mirror or somewhere, not so you can actually read the words every day, but just so you can know that that script or that request list is there, and you, every time that you see it, every time you clock eyes with that list, you shift your vibration to a state of being ready to receive that thing. And receptivity for women is huge, and we block our receptivity unknowingly all the time, and that's one of the highest feminine qualities in a person, is the ability to receive. So I did this practice in October last year, October 2018, of getting really clear on, I want him to be really family orientated, particularly have a strong relationship with his mum. I want him to be sporty and athletic, but not like a total gym junkie. I want him to have traveled or be open to travel and open to living overseas. I want him to really support me and support my work. It would be great if he meditated and had a spiritual practice. All of these kinds of things. Someone who is emotionally available and has been working on his childhood trauma, and, you know, and then I did say like the dark hair and the dark skin and all these other kind of more aesthetic qualities. But the more specific we can be, the greater power the universe has to be able to deliver that thing to us, because vague requests produce vague results. So if you say, I want a man who is over 5'10" and he loves animals, like you might get a beekeeper or a zookeeper, or, you know, you just have to be really specific. And finally, I would say put yourself in the environment where you are going to meet these kind of people and become that which you want to attract. So if you want to attract a really well-dressed man who's clean and, you know, well-presented and well-spoken, are you showing up as that yourself? Or are you going to the supermarket in your daggy track pants and your Ugg boots? Are you, you know, putting some attention into your appearance, or are you just kind of going out the house with really messy hair? And this is something that I've done recently, because I was of the view that, like, oh, my man's gonna love me no matter how I look, sweatpants and, you know, hair in a mess and unbrushed hair and whatever. But that again was my resistance. That again was my resistance to being able to receive affection and attention and compliments from a man on my appearance, and all that kind of stuff. So are you putting yourself in the places and scenarios where you could potentially meet someone, or are you sitting at home every Saturday night just complaining about how you don't have a lover in your life? Become a yes woman. So go and say yes to the invites that you are being given. And often this is the universe giving you little nudges to say, like, I'm putting this invite in your face. Normally you would say no to it, but are you going to say yes to it because you might potentially meet your guy there? And look out for signs that he's near, and look out for the feeling that you have in your body when you feel like there's love coming into your life as well. And again, that comes back to holding that vibration in your body, holding that feeling of being willing and able to receive that love in your life. So saying yes to the invites, going on the dates, even if you feel like, no, this isn't my guy, just being in the practice of being in the presence of another man and opening your energy up to that, and opening your energetic channels up to being in the presence of the masculine energy is super important. It's like going to the gym and like training a muscle. You're training that heart muscle and that receptivity muscle of just being in male presence and allowing a man to do things for you. You know, opening the door, giving you his jacket, whatever. All of this is training us to become the container to hold that love once it does arrive. So those are my tips. I hope that they've been helpful. For me personally, I'm super excited about what 2019 is going to bring in the form of love. I guess I just go about my business every day now, just feeling as if this man that I'm going to meet has been on the same journey, and he's been waiting his whole life to meet me. And I really hold that vibration in my body, in my cells, that I'm ready and that he's ready, and that when the timing is right, we are going to meet in whatever circumstances are meant to be. Yeah, and I just want that for everyone around me. So I hope that this has helped someone. If you do have any questions, just comment below. If you have a friend that should see this video, please like it and share it, and subscribe to the channel so you can see the next videos that are coming. Well.